Welcome to this first brief answers to big questions. The format really is simple. You send in your questions and then we provide a short video to get the conversation started. We're looking for big questions, so we won't be able to provide a full answer in a brief video. But we will present simply what the Bible says about the question, then give you a chance to respond in Zoom later on in the evening. Tonight's question is, what happens when I die? And as questions come, they really don't get much bigger or much more important. So can I encourage you to take just 10 minutes of your time to watch this video and to think about the question. You can join in the conversation later in Zoom, or maybe you just want to talk it over with a friend or email me directly your response. I'm sure you've got a list of things that you could be doing right now. And to be honest, you might prefer to be doing any one of those things on that list. You see, this question is one that we try to avoid. We don't like to ask about what goes on around death. We don't want to think about dying. It's the elephant in the room which we all want to avoid, and we seek to dance our way around. We don't mind coming to places like this, Bedley, our local cemetery in Moodiesburn. We walk through it or cut through and go for a walk down and around the glen. Death's all right, as long as we can keep it at arm's length. However, whenever it strikes close, it is so difficult, so painful. Death hurts. It's right that we acknowledge that at the outset of our video. In fact, the Bible says that death is not good. It's not natural. It's not what God wanted in His creation. That's why Jesus, God's Son, wept by the graveside of a close friend. Death is an enemy, one which God shall take on and defeat. So why are we thinking about this question tonight? Is it not easier just to dance around the elephant to ignore this question? Well, we're thinking about it because it's a question which you asked. Specifically, there were a couple of questions, one asking, do we immediately go to heaven? And another that asking, are we reunited with loved ones when we die at the second coming or not at all? Now, those are very specific questions, which we'll move on to as we get through our answer. But we want to begin with that bigger, more general question, what happens when I die? But there's another reason why we shouldn't dance around the elephant. Because over the past 10 months or so, that elephant has been getting bigger. Every day we hear of the rising death toll from COVID-19. We hear of those in our community, our friends, our family who are passing away too. We just can't avoid death. We're being forced to stop dancing and ask, what actually happens when I die? Now, of course, there's a number of ways which you could answer that question. We can speak physically and give the medical answer to what's happening in our bodies the moment that we die. We can speak practically and all the things that need to go on around a death. Or we can speak philosophically and theologically and ask ourselves, is it all over? Or is there something more than this? And that's the heart of this big question, the one we all must consider, one we must answer for ourselves. When we die, is that it? Life over? A big black nothingness? Or do we come back and get another go at this life? Are we reincarnated? Or do we live on, going to heaven or to hell? The Bible is clear. Death is not the end. To help us see this, I want to read a passage from Luke 23, a passage which tells us of Jesus' death on the cross. One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him, Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other criminal rebuked him. "Don't you fear God," he said, "since you are under the same sentence. We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve, but this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come in your kingdom." Jesus answered, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." We enter the scene as three people are dying. That's the only possible outcome whenever they're hanging on a cross. And as they're dying, Jesus utters these reassuring words. "Truly, I tell you, today you'll be with me in paradise." What we are experiencing now is not the end. Today our bodies will die, but we shall be in paradise. All the pain we know now will be a distant memory. All the agony of these moments will be drowned in the beauty of that place. And we don't have to wait long. We'll be there today. I can't explain to you how. I can just simply draw out the implications of what Jesus is saying here. Jesus is saying that there's more to you than your body. We all know that, don't we? We have our own characters and personalities, our gifts and our talents, things which go beyond the physical. We experience joy and despair. We can love and be loved. We are much more than the body that we can see and touch. Here Jesus is saying, somehow, when your body dies, you live on. Your essence, your spirit lives on. Jesus is clear and confident about this as he speaks about himself, because if we read on, we read that Jesus called out in a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." When he said this, he breathed his last. Jesus knew that at that moment, when he died, it wasn't the end. He would still live on. He commits his spirit to God. Do you see how that answers the specific questions we have today? There's an immediate transfer to paradise today. No waiting, no soul sleep, no purgatory. More, Jesus says that you will be with me. So Jesus and this thief who is beside him will be together and they'll recognize each other. I assume that means that we'll recognize all the folk that we know whenever we get there too. We shall be reunited. But Jesus is also saying that the best thing is that you will be with me. It will be great to see those who have gone before us, but the best thing is we will see Jesus. Now we need to flip the page to the next chapter, to another scene which takes place in a graveyard at Jesus' tomb. A few days after Jesus died, some of the women went to that tomb to anoint his body. They knew that he was dead, and they were shocked when they were confronted with an angel who told them otherwise. Listen to what the angel says. "Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He has risen. Remember how he told you while he was still with you in Galilee, that the Son of Man must be delivered over to the hands of sinners. He must be crucified, and on the third day he will rise again. He is not here. He is risen." That state of soul and body being separate isn't permanent. Jesus' body rose from the grave, and his spirit and body were reunited. And this is our hope too. Jesus rose, and so shall we. Death is difficult. We want to dance around it. But if you stop dancing and listening, you can hear some good news. And good as this news is, we must notice that it's only guaranteed for those who trust in Jesus. Remember that conversation we were listening into on a cross. It was between two individuals. A dying thief who asked Jesus to remember him when he comes. And then Jesus responds to him, "Truly I tell you, today you'll be with me in paradise." You see, that thief trusted Jesus. And as we consider our life and our death, we too can claim these reassuring words of Jesus if we trust him. Because of Jesus, you don't have to dance around death. We may still feel its sting and know its pain, but we know that it does not have the final words. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to chat further, to share your views or to ask some questions, you can join the conversation on Zoom at 7:30 tonight. You can get in touch with me, Mark, the minister at Moodiesburn Parish Church, using my email or the church email. There's a link to our Zoom and my email address are also in the video description, or they'll come up on the screen afterwards as well. Do submit your questions for next month as well. I do hope that you have found this video interesting and helpful, and above all that you would find Jesus to be your only hope and your only comfort in life and in death. Thanks for watching.